welcome. Today we've got a very brief interview with a friend of mine, Andy Godfrey. Andy works for the Good newspaper. It's a fantastic newspaper that we distribute free in the area. And Andy also writes for the Good newspaper. He writes a film review. So Andy, I wonder if you could tell us about the film and why it's Best Picture.
Okay, so thanks, Colin. It's great to be with you. We have a review in the current edition of the Good News newspaper of Nomadland. And many people will know, as you say, that this won the Oscar for Best Picture this year. There were 8 films that the jury had to choose from. This is the one they chose. Nomadland is a story of a lady called Fran. Her husband dies and she decides that she's going to get away from it all. She buys a camper van and she just heads out into the American Midwest to start a whole new life as a nomad, really, just going from one place to another, getting jobs where she can. And it turns out that in real life, there is a whole community of these people just literally traveling around the Midwest of America, odd jobbing, camping where they can. There's a whole community of these people. And many of the real life nomads actually are in the film. And so it's got that air of realism about it. It's a beautiful film to look at. The scenery is stunning. But during the course of the film, this character that we come to meet and really care about, she learns lots of lessons about life. And she asks lots of questions about life. She asks the question, is there a God in the film? She asks the question, where do we go when we die? She asks the question, how can I be happy while I'm here? So she's asking all these questions and she's on this kind of journey to try and find the answers. And the film presents one set of answers, whereas as a Christian, if I was talking to her, I would say, well, there's another set of answers I would actually give you. And that is fulfillment is found in God. Faith, hope, peace are all offered to us by God if we put our trust in him. And she's looking for them in the companionship and friendship of other people in the film, and she finds it, which is great. Absolutely great. But the real answers, so the big eternal questions, can surely only be found in God. That's what I took from the film. It's a great film. It really deserved to win the Best Picture. I've seen all 8 of the films that were up for Best Picture this year. And this one I saw on TV before cinemas reopened after lockdown. You should see it on a big screen because the vistas and the countryside is absolutely beautiful. And that in itself speaks to me because we see the beauty of God's creation in the film. And this is one of the things that causes her in the film to question, is there a God? Because of the beauty of the creation round about her. So, have a look at the film, enjoy it for what it is. It's a lovely, worthy Oscar-winning film that tells a very simple story, but at its heart are some very, very deep and profound questions about existence and life and where we're going as a human race, but where we're going as individuals. And I just find for myself, and I've found over the years, more than 50 years now, that those answers can only truly be found in a relationship with God. Yeah.
Thanks, Andy. It's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, I find when I go to the pictures, go to cinema, I see so many questions raised about the meaning and purpose of life and how to be happy. People go searching for these things, but they so often miss, the people I speak to, what the Bible can offer, what a good religion can offer. There's lots of bad religion out there as well. But following Jesus, listening to what he says, you can't go wrong because he is one of the wisest and of his deepest meaning and help of any religious leader. And as Christians, we believe he's more than that. We believe they call the Messiah. He's the one. He's God come in human form. But even if you don't believe that, looking and hearing what Jesus says can make a real difference to help you live a life that's much more fulfilled and have meaning and purpose.
Well, I mean, obviously, I couldn't agree with you more, and I think you're absolutely right. One of the interesting things in the film is that she meets a number of older people who are philosophers and have experienced life and have been through hardships, and there's somebody who's lost somebody from cancer, and there's somebody who's estranged from their children, and all these sort of things. And people, all these nomads, everyone's got a different reason for wanting to escape from corporate America, wanting to escape the rat race, and just wanting to go out and into the desert, you know, and just live as they want to live. Everybody's got a different reason. But as you say, what the film does is to ask the question, how can I ultimately be happy? How can I ultimately find peace in life? And she seems to find peace in the company of others. But I mean, ultimately, to find peace in the company of God, I mean, that is the most remarkable thing in the universe, especially when God says that if you give your life to me, I will walk with you. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about the fact that when we trust in Jesus Christ, he never, ever leaves us, and he never forsakes us. He never leaves us on our own. I live on my own. No, I don't. Because I've got a friend called Jesus who's with me all the time. And I can turn to him and I can talk to him, and I can share my good times with him. I can share my bad times with him. Ultimately, he has forgiven me for the things I've done wrong and said, one day, because you believe in me, I'm going to let you into my heaven, you know. And I think that that's where I know I'm heading. So the film Nomadland raises these very profound questions about where are we heading? You know, where does all this end? Yeah, I love the film, and I love the fact that it made me ask these questions. It makes the viewer ask these questions: like, where are we heading? You know, ultimately. If you don't know, well, get it sorted. You know, you can know, you can be sure, you can be confident that there is a heaven, and that Jesus Christ says, "Believe in me, and you can come in. You know, I'll forgive you, and you can come in." And there's no better message in the world than that. That's why we call the newspaper the Good News newspaper, because this is good news. This is good news that we can know where we're heading in life and where we're heading in eternity. And we can be sure. That's the greatest news. We should call the paper the Great News, actually, I sometimes think, because it's just great news, you know. And it's a privilege to obviously to be writing for it and to do the film reviews. Something I love anyway.
Thank you, Andy. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure, Colin. Great to see you. Thank you.